We've reached the end of this illustrated story, ready to finish with a flourish. Presenting the most famous saga of Ben 10 Omniverse, I recommend you stay until the end of the video and subscribe, because the good and the bad of the Ben 10 Omniverse games is coming. Now I'll really be quiet for a month and let's get started. The trio returns to their usual hero routine until Gwen reveals that she's accepting a scholarship to go to college and that Kevin is going with her. Breaking up the Alien Force team, Grandpa Max sends a newly graduated student from the Plumbers Academy named Rook Blanco to be Ben's new partner. The two slowly begin to work out their differences, fighting crime. In the underground city known as Undertown, formed by the camps of aliens who helped rebuild Bellwood in 2007. Without warning, they come across a drifting spaceship that is rumored about. It belongs to the Contumelia, the creators of the universe, and on board there is an Analar which can create and destroy universes in an uneven struggle to obtain the Analar against other enemies. The device is accidentally activated, eradicating everyone and everything in the universe except for Ben, who protects himself. As Alien X, he has finally begun to master his power and uses Alien X to create a new universe to replace the previous one. Although he is not a duplicate, and so far no one except Ben believes that this really happened. After 5 years, Malware finally continues his pursuit against Azimuth. Kyber is sent to hunt and capture Ben with his beast, now armed, with the Nematrix, which contains the DNA of the predators of Ben's respective aliens. Ben fights against them knowing that he is naturally at a disadvantage, but thanks to his new partner, he manages to come out victorious. He realizes that having Rook on his side would be very helpful, so over time they will strengthen their bond as true partners. Now, even with their teamwork, Malware has improved himself enough to launch an attack against Galvan too. They start by destroying its moon and disabling all the mechamorphs. Malware continues with his insatiable thirst for revenge, absorbing and transforming into a colossal monster. Ben struggles to defeat Malware, but he is absorbed into him. Here, he has an existential confrontation with his younger self. This revelation restores Ben's old feedback transformation in his new Omnitrix, becoming the catalyst that puts an end to Malware. Once and for all, Ben and Rook's adventures continue saving the planet from the Incursian invasion, preventing Albedo from permanently stealing Asmod's brain and freeing the Anur system from the evil clutches of Lord Trancel. Now, let me tell you that Paradox returns once again with a warning that the entire multiverse is in danger. Keon and Vilgax have joined forces and have been traveling together through time for years, gathering an army of villains, Ben Tennyson for a war. The battle will take place in an alternate universe, where one of the Bens never found the Omnitrix because the Omnitrix never even existed here. That universe is the target of the evil Bens, but luckily Ben Prime arrives to try to save it. He is joined by Paradox, Ben 23, Gwen 10, and Ben 10,000, another future version of Ben, who has the power to fuse his transformations into something epic. They gather for the battle, but realize that all of this was just a distraction, which allowed Vilgax to activate a Chronosapien time bomb, erasing all the Tennysons from the timeline, except for the Ben without the watch. In a final desperate act, Ben Prime tries to save his watchless version, leaving him a message that would set him on his true path. It's just a watch, be a hero. Paradox takes this turn on a journey to restore the timeline and reveals that these two were the ones who manipulated the events of Ben Prime's timeline, so that he can receive the Omnitrix. First of all, the Ben without a watch also helps Paradox gather the good Bens for the battle, but he stays behind when the war starts again, when the time comes. He intervenes by reversing all the events of the Chronosapien bomb and restoring the multiverse, then returning the Omnitrix to Ben Prime. Now, with all the percentage bearers ready, they defeat Vilgax, no effort. Returning to the original dimension, Ben is taken to trial by the Celestial Sapien. He must answer for having illegally recreated his universe with Alien X, as he has been violating the law of multiversal preservation. After a short time, the court rules that Ben is guilty, but as a last resort, they activate the Tetraman Trial of Combat, which will allow him to fight for his freedom. Now, he will have to fight against a unique Celestial. It is during this season's battle that Ben finally gains full control of Alien X and defeats the Galactic Gladiator, clearing his name throughout the universe. Now, aware of what he has done, Ben Cervantes finally returns after realizing that the dangerous threat known as Ben Tennyson has resurfaced. The Omnitrix Cervantes restores Kevin's childhood memories. Was he the main Rooter killer? Which prompts Kevin to do the same with the others who had lost their memories. After a big series of events, the Tennyson team, along with Argy and the young people, takes everyone to the Router's headquarters, located in the Null Void. Cervantes takes advantage of the situation and physically takes control of the children, Amalgama. But he can't do this with Kevin, whom he instead corrupts by mocking him because Ben ruined his childhood and imprisoned him. Kevin switches sides, loses control, and mutates again in battle, getting a scar on his chin that would leave him permanently marked. Kevin surprises everyone by revealing that since his last incident mutated, he has gained control of his powers. He pretended to be insane to approach Cervantes and break his bond with the children, Amalgama. Eventually, they defeat Cervantes and leave him stranded in the Null Void. The Time War now gets underway as the enemies from the future, Subdora and Exo Skull, are tasked with collecting all the pieces of Maltran scattered throughout the multiverse to become whole again. Many time travel events lead Ben and Ruga to team up with Ben's future son, Kenny, and Skull. A biot slime that found its way into Ben's Omnitrix, which allows it to form special weapons and tools based on the Omnitrix's DNA. Their goal is to prevent Maltran from succeeding, but this journey follows Ben into adulthood. Now Ben, at 36 years old, is fighting to prevent Maltran from building his own corrupt Annihilar. And he travels back to the beginning of time to remake his universe in his own image. Thanks to a gift from Paradox and Ben 10,000, Ben and Ruga use their special time bikes to follow Maltran in a race literally against time. They manage to temporarily pull Maltran out of the time vortex, leaving him stranded on Earth. In the 1770s, Maltran sends a distress signal that is received by a young Vilgax, who agrees to repair his carriage in exchange for a Chronosapien time bomb. Meanwhile, Ben and Ruga team up with George Washington to fight against them. Now, Vilgax is determined to get the Omnitrix. Meanwhile, Maltran manages to escape back to the vortex, while at the same time, Maltran travels to the beginning of time to come face to face with the Contumelia's ship. Here, they are greeted by 3 multiversal gods, who appear before them in the form of their heart's desire, so that they can be physically perceived in their 5th dimensional forms. Maltran, having arrived earlier, puts his plan into action. With the corrupted Annihilar, Skur is forced to create a celestial sword. But let me tell you, it's too late. Ben has no choice but to dive after the Annihilar. As a last effort to save the universe, he prevails, and using the power of all his transformations, Ben contains the Big Bang. He shoots it at Maltran, scattering his body into pieces so that Paradox can hide his parts throughout the multiverse, dooming Maltran to repeat his failure over and over again, trapped in an endless time loop. Ben says goodbye to Skur, who wishes to join his ancestors in the development of life. The Contumelia are impressed by their observations and invite Ben and Ruga to stay and witness the true birth of their own reality. Annihilar is finally placed in the chamber and sent into the endless void. From there, the universe is born.